We had an issue, but he was so kind to me. And it sounds crazy because that's not kind to cheat on somebody.
Let's be real, there's been a whole lot of chatter swirling around lately, and if you've been online, you've definitely seen the rumors. People are seriously wondering whether Tina Knowles is reconnecting with her ex-husband, Mathew Knowles. And not just in a polite co-parenting way, no, folks are speculating that something a little more romantic might be happening. It all started when a now-deleted video surfaced, allegedly posted by a personal assistant from Tina's team. It was supposed to be an innocent behind-the-scenes clip, but eagle-eyed viewers caught a blink and you miss it moment in the background. Tina on FaceTime with a bald man who looked suspiciously like Mathew. She was laughing, fixing her hair, and a voice from the phone reportedly said, "I'll see you tonight." Sounds juicy, right? Now, maybe that was just a casual conversation. Maybe she was planning to meet Mathew at a public event or on her book tour. But let's be honest, people are running wild with interpretations. And given Tina's recent divorce from Richard Lawson, it's not hard to understand why. So now fans are asking, is Mama Tina really circling back to her ex-husband Mathew Knowles? And where exactly does that leave Richard? We're talking about the same Richard Lawson she quietly divorced after nearly a decade of marriage. Meanwhile, Mathew is still married too. So what exactly is going on? Let's rewind a little. Tina and Mathew officially split back in 2009 after the bombshell news dropped that Mathew had fathered a child with Alexandra Wright. She originally filed for divorce, dropped it in 2010, and then refiled in 2011, citing irreconcilable differences. But Alexandra wasn't the only woman. Mathew had been cheating for years. And things got even messier when it came out that another woman, Takoya Branscombe, also had a baby by him around the same time. Yeah, you heard that right. Two different women, both allegedly pregnant while Mathew and Tina were still technically married. Sloppy doesn't even begin to cover it. And yet, despite all that betrayal, Tina's never completely turned her back on Mathew emotionally. In fact, in her recent memoir, she talked about the complicated love they shared and admitted that they had reconnected privately shortly after filing for divorce. She said they went on secret boat trips, stayed at their beach house together, and had what she called a sneaky little affair that they kept hidden even from Beyoncé and Solange. But things almost blew up when the girls surprised her for Mother's Day, and Mathew had to bolt out of the house before they saw him. Eventually, Tina confessed. Beyoncé accepted it quietly, but Solange? She was furious. According to Tina, Solange was always more protective and less forgiving, which totally tracks given everything we've learned about her over the years. So when fans see Tina and Mathew popping up together now, especially during her recent book tour, it's not hard to see why people are suspicious. Mathew even gave a public shout-out to Tina on social media after her event in Houston, calling her a New York Times best-selling author and expressing pride in her achievements. He also said, "I will always love you as the mother of our daughters." That's not exactly a casual compliment, it's loaded with sentiment. And people are definitely picking up on it. What adds even more fuel to the fire is the fact that Tina has consistently defended Mathew over the years. In her memoir, she admitted he cheated throughout the marriage, but she also described him as someone who truly believed in her when no one else did. She said he made her feel powerful, capable, and worthy, something she still holds onto, even now. She's even gone so far as to say his actions came from a place of illness, not malice. To some, that sounds like codependency. To others, it's evidence of a deep emotional connection that's never fully gone away. Then there's Richard Lawson, the man Tina married in 2015 after her divorce from Mathew. Their relationship seemed strong at first, filled with spiritual energy and emotional alignment. Richard once said that when he held her hand, he felt a powerful vibration that made him proud to be with her. Sweet, right? But even during their marriage, fans noticed Tina often seemed dismissive of him in interviews. One particular clip resurfaced where she says he's far from perfect in a tone that made it sound like she wasn't exactly head over heels. And let's not forget the rumors that Tina and Richard might have had their own messy beginning. David Lee Brewer, Beyoncé's childhood vocal coach, claimed in his tell-all that Tina had been seeing Richard while still married to Mathew. He even recalled walking in on the two of them kissing when she was supposed to be at work. He said Tina awkwardly introduced Richard, and it was obvious something was going on. After 8 years of marriage, Tina filed for divorce from Richard in 2023, citing irreconcilable differences. The divorce itself was surprisingly smooth and quick. According to court documents, they had a clean financial split. Tina walked away with multiple properties, luxury cars, a share in her beauty business, and all her personal creations. Richard got his own assets, including a Cadillac Escalade, royalties, studio rights, and his pension plan. Tina even agreed to pay him a one-time settlement of $300,000. Interestingly, the divorce included a non-disparagement clause that specifically banned them from speaking negatively about each other or about their children and grandchildren. That's a pretty unusual detail, and some say it was likely added because Richard has a bit of a reputation for running his mouth. Now back to the present. With Tina and Richard's marriage officially over, and Mathew still being a visible presence in her life, people can't help but wonder what's really going on. The timing is suspect, and the way Tina continues to speak about Mathew makes it sound like he still occupies a big part of her heart. And apparently they've been seen together more often lately, not just for family events or mutual business. Whether they're rekindling a romance or just leaning on each other as co-parents and former partners, something about the energy between them is raising eyebrows. And where does that leave Mathew's current wife? Yes, he's still married, though not much is publicly known about that relationship. But if Tina and Mathew are indeed spending more time together behind the scenes, his wife must have some thoughts, if not serious concerns about it. And Richard? If the rumors are true, he might be licking his wounds, wondering if he was always just a placeholder while Tina still longed for her ex. This entire situation has people split. Some think it's possible that Tina and Mathew are just being supportive of each other as family. They did build a life together, raised two global icons, and shared decades of history. But others aren't buying it. They think this is more than just friendly exes. After all, how often do divorced couples take romantic boat trips in secret and sneak around behind their kids' backs? That wasn't just co-parenting. That was intimacy, rekindled affection, and maybe even love. It's also worth noting that Tina chose to keep Mathew's last name after the divorce, even when she remarried. That's not a small detail. For someone who talks openly about the pain he caused, you'd think she would have dropped the name and moved on. But maybe she never fully did. Maybe part of her always hoped they'd find their way back to each other. Or maybe she just wanted to maintain a unified public identity with her daughters. Either way, it raises questions. In her memoir, Tina didn't sugarcoat the reality of her life with Mathew. She called out the betrayal, the infidelity, and the damage it caused. But she also painted a picture of a man who, despite everything, was her teammate, her cheerleader, and someone who made her feel seen. She acknowledged how complicated that bond is, and how it can still exist even after all the wounds. And while that might seem hard for outsiders to grasp, it makes perfect sense to anyone who's ever loved someone deeply, even when they didn't deserve it. So now here we are. Mathew Knowles and Tina Knowles, two people with a history that's impossible to ignore, are back in the spotlight together. Maybe it's just nostalgia. Maybe it's unresolved emotions bubbling to the surface. Or maybe, just maybe, they're actually testing the waters for a second chance. Either way, fans can't look away. The speculation won't stop anytime soon, and unless one of them comes out and gives a clear answer, the whispers are only going to get louder. Is it real love or just familiar comfort? Are we witnessing a rekindled flame or just two old friends reconnecting? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, whatever is going on between Tina and Mathew, it's got people talking. And when it comes to these two, the tea is always piping hot.